Do you see a situation at one point in time where security issues with that campus, a school, a college, or even a business that doesn't have the proper security in place, and an active shooter happens, or a serious, God forbid, type of tragedy, that they're going to be lawsuits based on that? Do you think it's coming down the pike, or it's already happened and you've been involved in something like that?
Well, I think in today's world that you got to have, in a situation like that, and let's just use a college campus. Let's pick University of South Florida, okay, where I went to college. It's a huge campus. Protection of students has got to be the number one goal there. So they've got to have at least a minimum standard of what they're going to do.
Right.
But if you know the west side of the campus has had the most assaults, then you're going to have to beef up security over there. You can't just say we're going to spread it out. Everybody gets, this, that, or the other thing. Everybody gets equal shares of this massive campus. So we're going to have one security guy in every acre of land. You can't do that. So what do? Well, if the west side is having problems, you're going to have to set up more security there. It's kind of like border wall fencing.
Right.
If people are coming through the Rio Grande. Okay, let's put more security there. Let's put drones. Let's put this. Let's put that. And I think campuses have a paramount duty to protect the students. Paramount. There can't be a bigger calling than to protect the students.
I'm preaching that all the time. College safety is huge.
That's got to be. It's huge. And I have a daughter who's going away to college, so of course you're hitting a chord with me when you're talking about college safety. And again, you want, number one, you got to educate the students. You got to they all have to know how to protect themselves. You got to have the school who's got their own systems, and the students got to know how to protect themselves. I've heard of some schools where they have, all have apps now where the student, if they need a ride, there's a ride share. There's a ton of ways to do it. But if a student's walking home late from the library alone and says, well, it's just a 5-minute walk, then they've taken matters into their own hands. Now you've got a situation where the school has gone over and above, yet the student they've taken a deviant route, or they've taken an alternative pattern. Is that the student's fault? Or should the school have been prepared for that?
Right.
That's a tough call. That's a jury question. That's one of those calls where you look at it and you say, okay, what more could the school have done? The school has done A through Y, but should they have done Z? That's a tough call. That's really a tough call.
And like you said, that'll depend on the jury and the situation and a whole host of other factors. So if someone is injured, whether it's on a college campus or in a corporation, what should be the first thing that they do?
Oh, good question. Number one, if they're injured, obviously call for medical attention immediately, whatever that is. Number two, you would have to contact the school. And this is where it gets a little dicey, because I don't want to tell people to run to a lawyer right away. Because if you're injured, and it's not that bad, and the school takes responsibility, like they have a premise liability policy where you went to the emergency room, it was $5,000, and they have a $5,000 insurance policy. All right, I had a bloody knee, I fixed it, no big deal. Mm-hmm. An assault's a different story.
Sure.
Somebody gets assaulted on a college campus. Now you're talking, okay, who owned the building? Did it happen at a fast food place? Who was responsible for the security at the fast food place? What was the protocols they used? And, then you're probably going to need an attorney to figure this one out, because ultimately, if somebody did something wrong, you're still going to have to prove it in court. You can't just make allegations. Oh, well, you should have done this or you should have done that. What was the policy? What happened? Was it, you go back to, was there a duty to protect the students? Of course. Did the person who was responsible for that duty breach it? Yeah. Was it foreseeable that if they breached the duty that somebody would get injured? And then was it the legal cause? Those are the 4 elements of negligence. You got to prove foreseeability. You got to prove legal cause. You got to prove duty there was a duty to protect, and that they breached the duty. And then you get to the issue of damages, but you never get to damages unless you can prove all those other elements.
Excellent. And of course, I would say, make sure you file a police report so that there's an official record and accounting of everything, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. That's obviously, the first thing you want to do is, if you're injured, get medical attention, but you also got to call the police report. And I was including that in get medical attention when you say, look, you got to report this to somebody.